Good morning everybody, it's Ken Ring of www.predictweather.com and it's the 15th of May. It was the new moon yesterday. The moon's actually on the other side of the sun now. That's what it looks like in the sky. The moon's right down fairly low in the sky because it's the furthest point north as of tomorrow. So, and after that it'll start to go the other way. It's also the highest tides of the month at the moment, and high tides plus new moon adds up to good fishing, and that's actually been good since Thursday. And I'm going to say a bit about that in a minute for all you fishermen out there. Now, we've been getting a falling barometer over the last couple of days, and that goes with the higher tides. Quite often you get a falling barometer, and quite often you get storms around the highest tides, which is, as I've explained before, how I kind of got into this area of my life. Now, fish have got their own barometer, and they can detect changes in pressure through their lateral lines, and I think biologically that's why they react so instantly when something large sneaks up behind them, because they've evolved these lines that detect pressure in the water. So they're sensitive to weather and air pressure changes as well. For instance, when the air pressures are high and the sky is clear, that's not a good time to fish. I think the air presses on the water because it's heavier, and I think the fish feel that. I think what happens is the fish seek cover because it may be that the water gets less murky when the skies are clearer. The water is also clearer, and other fish can see them. They don't want to be targets, so they dive under shelves and things, you know, in the sea, and they don't come out and feed. So to be a good fisherman, you have to keep an eye on your barometer. If the needle's steady, well, that's just average normal fishing. But if it's rising or falling, then that's when the fish get more active. And a falling barometer with the weather getting worse, well, that's the best time for fishing. So what you want to do is you want to watch your barometer, you want to watch the skies, and when you see the clouds gathering and the needles falling, you know, it goes a bit cold, that's the time to grab the gearbox and go fishing. But when the rain sets in, you'll find that the barometer stays fairly steady in a lower reading, a lower value. It's not rising up or down. It's too late then. The fish get less active, and then you have to wait until things start to clear again. Keep your eye on the skies, and then the barometer will start to rise. The fish will get active again. Well, the barometer is still falling at the moment because the tides are still high, so I reckon it's pretty good fishing today if you're out in a boat today. Well, the new moon is in its second day because the new moon was yesterday, and that's pretty well ideal. If a front has just passed where you are and the barometer is falling, well, you want to be fishing as the moon is rising. And it'll be above the horizon at about 8:20 a.m. So you've got about 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes on either side of that, which means if you're out in a boat, then you know you could be getting quite a few fish today. The moon reaches its highest point at 1 p.m. today, and it sets at 6 p.m. So those times are good fishing as well. Weather-wise around New Zealand, well, the moon reaches its highest point in the month tomorrow, as we said. That's the northern declination, and now everything is going upwards, and that's the weather as well. And anticyclones are in charge, so it's more pushing a low pressure air mass downwards, and we've still got that kind of going on, still what's happening. If you look on the weather map that was on TV, you know, yesterday, you'll see this huge high pressure system sitting over Australia, and it's stretching out to the Pacific, and that's going to last for a couple of days more. If you're wondering where your storms are going to come, you know, and you're wondering what is a sign of a storm coming, I said I'd give you a few pointers on that. Well, if you see dolphins out in the harbour near where you are, that's a sign of a storm coming. Dolphins swim towards a storm because the fish in front of the storm are being pushed ahead of them. So dolphins are a sign of a storm. Any strange noises far off, coming in the trees, coming off the sea, that's a sign of a storm. Any animals getting really unsettled, birds go really quiet, and they don't call out as much. You'll find the insects go quiet too. They go still. The spiders on their spider webs, they'll sit still because of the extra wind. They don't want to. They've already tied down their tent pegs and made them tighter, so they're just sitting there waiting for flies to be blown into their newly tightened traps. So that's another sign to watch for. Birds flying low because they don't want to fly too high. There's too much wind up there. So birds flying low and keeping quiet and pretty well staying out of sight. That's a sign that there could be a dump of bad weather coming. There are other signs too, and I'll fill you in on those in later blogs. Hey, thanks for watching, and I hope you catch me tomorrow.